game, and I managed to drop him at the end, but yeah, it was hard work.
Incredible fight. With that big KO, you send a big message to the heavyweight boxing world. Tell us what that big message is.
I'm the juggernaut!
And the mandatory for Alexander Usyk. If indeed Usyk is looking for a fight, tell us why he should re-look in your direction.
Usyk, I'm very Phil. Let's get it on.
What's good, family? It's your man, the YB, back once again. So we just heard there from your mans, Joe, the Juggernaut, Joyce, airing out, well, not really airing out, but you know, I'm sticking it all over, Mr. Alexander Usyk. Yeah, listen, Mr. Alexander Usyk, you blown up, whooped by Mr. Sean 147 Porter looking ass. Yeah, we want you bad over here. Your man the YB is now 100% Team Joyce. There's no doubt about that. I'm all the way. I'm riding. So you man know, yeah, there's no confusion. Your man the YB is riding heavy. Mr. Joe Joyce's jockstrap. That's a fact. This guy the real deal. He don't do too much of this. He do a lot of this. Yeah, he got the squabbles, the real squabbles as well. And as far as I'm concerned, I got more videos. Trust me, every day for the next week, yeah, I'm doing Joe Joyce videos, big facts. This guy has got the best pre-World Championship resume in the history of boxing. No one, let's talk about heavyweights. No one in the history of the heavyweight game in 14 fights has got a KO over Dubois and a KO over Joe Parker. No one's done that before the World Championship level. AJ, for example. AJ, his best win before World Championship was Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte is not a Dubois. Dillian Whyte is not a Parker. Dillian Whyte went life and death with Parker. Oops. Do you know what I'm saying? It's one of them ones. Bottom line. Yeah? Who else we got? What other clowns we got? Tyson Fury. What did Tyson Fury do? I'm trying to think. Tyson Fury, before he fought Vlad, his best win was Chisora. Oops. Yeah? Tyson Fury's best win before Vlad was Chisora. Chisora ain't no Parker. Parker beat him twice, and he ain't no, what's the guy's name? Dubois. And that's just recent times. I'm not sure who Vladimir Klitschko fought. I mean, to be quite frank here, Vladimir Klitschko, in my book, doesn't even have a Dubois on his resume. He don't. Full stop. After World Championship, I would back Dubois to beat Povetkin and to beat Pulev. And they're really some of Vladimir Klitschko's best wins. Oops. Not to mention, Vladimir Klitschko wasn't fighting the Povetkins of the world until 30 or 40 fights in. So Joe Joyce, yeah, has got a supercharged resume. He's not going points. That's another thing, by the way. Vlad went points with one of them. I think it was Povetkin. Or was that a late stoppage? Either way, man. Bottom line is, man, Joe Joyce is 37 years old. And he's beating prime bulls in devastating fashion. Yeah, Dubois, 23-year-old bull. And we just saw how deadly Dubois was. Trevor Bowman. People was telling me, no word of a lie, Mike Tyson's former trainer, Stacey McKinley, was telling everyone, my charge, Trevor Bryan, is going to deal with Dubois. He's too slick. He's got that... honestly, the way people carry on about US boxing, oh, he's slick. He a USA slickster. He going to go in there and slick all over him. Dubois knocked the USA clean out of that dude. Yeah, I spoke to Trevor Bowman after the fight. I said, listen, Mr. Trevor Bowman. Yeah? Tell me about the fight. Yeah? Tell me about the USA. He looked me straight in the face and said, US what? Yeah? US who? Yeah. All of a sudden, Mr. Trevor Bowman, Mr. USA Slickster, didn't even remember where he's from. Yeah? In fact, he denied it 6 times. Yeah? Before the Crow before the chicken crowed, before the hen crowed 6 times, yeah, just like Jesus, Trevor Bumman had denied knowing anything about the USA. Big facts. Yeah? That's what it was. And Joyce dealt with the guy, and to be quite frank, didn't even get rocked. Dubois out here smoking, dude. Dubois smoked Tyson Fury's cousin. Roasted the guy. Served him up. Plate of food. Roasted Trevor Bumman as well. And Joyce in there making fun of Dubois. Joyce in there making fun of Parker. The best Parker. Let's not also forget that, people, as well. The best Parker. People was telling me Parker got... Andy Lee himself. Andy Lee, the Manny Stewart 2.0, allegedly. Yeah? Oh, there's only one man with one punch power. Oops. One of them ones. There's only one man with one punch power. There's only one man with speed. There's only one man with skills. Joe Joyce is crude and primitive. Joe Joyce, not the crude and primitive, clean India. That's what he did. Yeah? Look at your face all twist up looking. Mr. Joe Parker. Look at this cat here. Yeah? This right here, people, is what twist up alien face look like. I'm not being funny here, but I've got to put my hands in the air. And to some extent, I'll put my hands half in the air because I've been critical, and I still am, again, half critical of Joe Joyce's defense. I still believe he should at least have the look of the tight elbows in, chin down, high guard, like Canelo does. I think he should at least have that look. As far as I've seen with Joyce, when he's coming forward, he never gives it the Canelo look. I'd love to see him, especially if he fights Usyk, which, by the way, I'm telling you now, the odds are hugely against Joyce. If you put 100 quid on, you end up making $200 profit. So you put 100 on, you get 300 back for Joyce to beat Usyk. I'm telling you now, that'll be one of my biggest bets of all time. I think Joe Joyce at least wins on points. I can see a late stoppage again. I really can. Bear in mind, AJ, who's got no cardio, who's as slow as Joyce now, to be quite frank, doesn't have anywhere as near accurate jab as Joyce. Has no chin compared to Joyce. If AJ, yeah, really, that was a close fight. I'm sorry, that second one was close. And AJ did nothing for the last 3 rounds. Joe Joyce will stop and or beat... I could see Usyk picking a few rounds up, but for what it's worth, Joyce will wash Usyk. Again, I got more of every day this week we're doing videos on Joyce, on principle, to pay homage. Yeah? There's a whole bunch of clowns telling me, oh, YB, but yeah. Honestly, some of you guys are proper goopers in this game. Oh, YB, we've seen that fight already. Oh, that fight don't make no sense. Wait there. You saw a fight 10 years ago. What the in the amateurs? What the f*** are you talking about? This is the heavyweight boxing game with 10-ounce gloves on. Joe Joyce was weight drained. Joe Joyce in 2012 or whenever that bum-ass amateur thing was, yeah? Joe Joyce was 90 kilos. That's 200 pounds. Joe Joyce is 270 pounds right now. That's 50 pounds heavier than Usyk. So all you dumbass goopers out there who no doubt was sucking off Joe Parker before the fight. Oh, YB, Parker this, Parker that. 100%. I guarantee you all the people sucking Usyk off, yeah, was sucking Parker off as well. Oh, YB, Usyk did this in the amateurs. Oh, YB this at the other. YB, Usyk did this in the... That was against a 200-pound man. Joe Joyce is 270 pounds now. And looking at Joe Parker's face, no one has done this to Joe Parker. No one's got him out of there. Honestly, I didn't think Joyce would... I bet money on it, but strategically, I bet more money on it going points. And to see Joe Joyce come out and box to orders, that's what's so valuable when it pertains to this Usyk fight, from my point of view. Because what that tells me is, if Ismail Salas tells Joe Joyce, Joe, it's round 7, let's go to work, I know Joe Joyce is going to go out there and start letting his hands go. At which point, Usyk is as good as proper fucked, in my opinion. Honestly, for me, yeah, it's a godsend. And I'm praying, that's why I'm trying to get in contact right now with Joe Joyce's team. I believe he's about to be shafted again by Frank Warren and by Team Usyk. I've got more videos coming soon, but you man need to understand, Joyce versus Usyk was ordered in February 2021, and Usyk shit himself and ducked the fight and started crying, "Oh, I deserve the AJ fight." You don't deserve fuck all. Yeah? You've done nothing at heavyweight, in my opinion. Even now, you've beat one bum heavyweight. You beat one bum bodybuilder who is never no good. Bottom line, he's broke. You listen, Usyk, yeah. You beat a broken man. I'm not giving you no credit for beating AJ. I must not. That's me. You beat Joyce, I'll suck you off myself. Big facts. I'm telling you now. If Usyk beats Joyce, actually beats him, I'm not talking about robbing on cards. If he actually beats Joyce, I will suck Usyk off myself. Big facts. Because that'll be his first real world championship level challenge. AJ didn't turn up. Yeah, both fights. Not one person there can convince me AJ turned up and fought like a champion. Not in a month or Sundays. I'd say Joe Parker fought more like a champion against Joe Joyce than AJ did against Usyk. Joe Parker was prepared to go out flat on his back, and so he did. That's what the game is supposed to be about. Yeah, you win or you go out on your back. You don't go in there and shit your pants against someone half your size. That's what you don't do in this game, as far as I'm concerned. Especially we're talking about unified championship here. Any of you goobers out there believe AJ gave a unified champion defense? You don't understand the sport. Yeah? AJ went in there with a sparring partner mentality and shit himself against a midget. And then complained. Oh, I'm 50 pounds bigger, but that's my weakness. What the fuck? The first man in the history of boxing to complain about being wham. I've never heard of that one. I've never heard of a bigger man complaining until it came to AJ. The first man in the history of the game to complain about being a whole weight division bigger than his opponent. Never heard of that one before. Yeah, when Lomachenko schooled Rigondeaux and made him quit. That was an 8-pound weight advantage. I didn't hear Lomachenko complaining, "Oh, well, I'm 8 pounds heavier, so somehow it's some disadvantage." When Bivol schooled Canelo, I didn't hear Bivol coming out, "Oh, I'm 8 pounds heavier, so it's my disadvantage." No, all them man, as far as I'm concerned, all the facts say, all them big buff dudes schooled the little buff dudes. Simple as that. Until AJ came along. Big weightlifter looking ass. Yeah, AJ, if you stop pumping so much weight, you might have some gas tank. How about that? Yeah? And AJ's full of lies. For years, AJ said, "Oh, I don't lift weights." And then Tutu's his videos of him pumping biceps. Like, you're lying. Stop lying, man. It's clear you pump weights 24/7. Weird ass guy. Anyway, man, listen. Back to Joyce. Back to my doggy Joyce. Because Joyce, he fills my heart with warmth. I wish he was... Someone on the radio said they wish he was 30 years old. I wish he was 30 years old. I wish somehow they could take AJ and he can be 40 and give us Joyce at 30, man. Because AJ is useless, man. Give me Joyce. I'll take Joyce every day of the week. Yeah, the guy has got to appear. And he not only... For me, Joyce is special because he gets better when it matters. He don't choke like AJ. Do you understand? Every time in the clutch moments, you best believe your man Joe is clutch. Big facts. Yeah? He turn up when it matters. He turn up when it need to matter. Dubois, everyone. I wasn't so into the game right then, but when Joyce fought Dubois, everyone thought he was going to get his black back blown out. And to be quite frank, a lot of people even today, or last night, were saying, "Oh, it's 50-50 with Parker and Joyce." Yeah? That's what they were saying, writing him off again. Andy Lee, probably one of the biggest people writing him off. It's too slow. Parker's got the power. Parker got the speed. Parker got everything. And I'm praying Joyce gets the Usyk fight. And I'm telling you now, Joyce's team, you need to stop wanking each other off. Tell a lie. You need to stop wanking Frank Warren off and start performing your fiduciary duty to your client. And that does not include sucking Frank Warren off or sucking anyone else off. Your client is Joe Joyce. Because I felt, at the end of the day, I'm going to break all these topics down, yeah, but I feel to rant right now. Because guess what? February 2021, Joyce versus Usyk was ordered. That's the bottom line. Yeah? And bear in mind, AJ versus Usyk didn't happen until September or October 2021. So, Joyce versus Usyk could have happened. It was supposed to happen in April. That fight could have happened, and the winner could have been for AJ in the September or October. That could have been happened. But guess what? Sam Jones, who at the time was representing Joyce, Mr. Big Mouth, and I ain't got a problem with big mouths, yeah? My issue is, Sam Jones, the biggest mouth in the game, disappeared in the clutch moment. The one time Joe Joyce needed his team to be on point, they all disappeared. Yeah? You had an ordered fight. As far as I'm concerned, that's legally binding. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you like I'm some professional in this game, but the governing body ordered Joyce versus Usyk. That's on paper. And again, AJ versus Fury, that was on until June. The deal didn't fall through until June. So the point is, if WBO order that in mid-February, and AJ and Fury was playing around until June, that fight against Joyce and Usyk should have been happened. Even if you say it takes 3 months. That would be the middle of May. The fight should have been on. But instead, Team Joyce dropped the ball. Yeah? We're flicking each other's willies. And Team Usyk did whatever they did. And to some extent, I don't blame Team Usyk, because they did what they had to do to get the AJ back. But as far as the sport's concerned, is Usyk a bad sportsman? And for me, that's one of the key reasons I don't like Usyk. For me, he's a snake. Yeah, he's a nothing to deserve that shot at heavyweight. Nothing. I don't care about IB, what he did at cruiserweight. And to be quite frank, I'm not even impressed with his cruiserweight resume. Yeah, Usyk didn't beat no Hall of Famers at cruiserweight. Now, is it his fault? Is it his fault the division's full of bums? No, but I'm just calling it what it is. Yeah, fair enough. If Usyk beat a Hall of Famer, if there was real tough competition in the division, I get it. You know what? Usyk's wiped out real Hall of Fame competition. That builds a narrative. Okay, he's wiped out top cruiserweight competition. Let's see how he does against champion heavyweight. He hasn't done that. Usyk beat one of the most average cruiserweights divisions of all time. And that is what it is, but let's not make out that elevates you to a unified heavyweight championship shot. Not to mention, he sucked against Chisora as well. So you don't go from an average cruiserweight division to sucking against Chisora to getting a shot. To overleaping Joyce, because as far as I'm concerned, Joyce at that point in time, even at this point, at every point, Joyce has a better resume than Usyk. He knocked out Dubois. Do any of you think Usyk going to knock Dubois out? Exactly, no. So that's the bottom line there. Usyk should have fought Joyce as he was ordered to. Now again, Usyk weaseled out of it. That's his, you know what I mean? If Usyk shit himself, Usyk shit himself. But that's why, don't tell me about how much of a fighting man Usyk is. If Usyk was a fighting man, he could have washed Joe, earned his shot genuinely, and then beat AJ. But for some reason, for all you weirdos talking about, why beat Usyk already schooled Joyce? If that's the case, why do you? Innit? If it's easy work, it's easy work. Go in there and school him again. Innit? If Usyk schooled Joyce in amateurs, yeah, what's the big deal? School him again in April 2021 and then fight AJ. Earn your shot like everyone else does. But again, Team Joyce dropped the ball. Sam Jones fell off the map for 6 months. I don't understand how someone can have a document ordered and then nothing. Nothing happened. It was on Team Joyce should have been the ones pushing for the purse bid. Guess what? Team Usyk weren't going to push for the purse bid, were they? Why? Well, they got no incentive to. Team Usyk didn't want the fight. Yeah, Team Usyk aren't going to get on the phone and say WBO ordered a purse bid. Team Usyk were happy to sit back and just hide out. And unfortunately, because Team Joyce didn't jump on it, nothing happened. There was never, honestly, look at it yourself. There's no evidence Team Joyce demanded the Usyk fight be purse bid. None. What's that based on? I'm sorry, but if I was Joe Joyce now, I'd be suing my team for incompetence. The Usyk fight was ordered. That's cost him millions of dollars now and years of time. Joe Joyce has essentially been waiting, for his shot at the titles for a year and a half since then already. And the way things are playing out, guess what? Fury's fighting in December. Usyk wants to fight Wilder some random time. Fury will probably retire in between all this period. Plus then, they've got to negotiate. You know what Fury's like. Fury negotiations take 6 months. So, Fury versus Usyk at best will take part in Q4 2023. Yeah? Now, Frank Warren has cucked Joe Joyce. Oh yeah, Joe, don't worry, Joe. We're going to get the... Fury's going to fight in December, and then Fury versus Usyk in February, and you'll get your shot in the summer. Bullshit. You're lying, Frank. You know full well Fury ain't fighting no one in February. You know that. And I don't know what's going on with Joe Joyce's team yet, but Joe Joyce, you need to know your team suck. Bottom line. I don't know whether Frank's paying them off, but I guarantee you, Joe, if you don't listen to my advice, and really, it's not even about me. I want best for you. But I'm telling you now, if you sit there on your hands again, like you did in 2021, Dubois will end up with a shot before you. I guarantee you it. Frank Warren is snidey in that sense. Frank Warren, he sees a 21-year-old man in Dubois. He sees 15 years of milkage. He can get out of Dubois. He hasn't got many years left in you. Yeah? Because to be quite frank, the evidence is, why did Frank Warren pass Dubois the WBA shot when he had Joyce, the man who beat him? That's the question you got to ask yourself, Team Joyce. In fact, that's what, not even Team Joyce, Joe Joyce. You've got to ask yourself, why did Frank Warren pass Dubois the WBA shot when you beat the guy? And the reason I'm trying to address Joe, not his team, because his team, I think, are in on it. Because if they're not in on it, if Joe Joyce's team aren't in on it, why haven't they been telling Frank, wait a minute, mate. Why are you giving him that shot when we knocked the guy out and popped his cherry for him? We're undefeated. We beat the guy. We should be WBA champions right now, regular. Now, I think the belt's a schmuck belt anyway, but since schmuck belts are being passed out, we'll have it, thanks. Do you know what I'm saying? For what it's worth. Yeah? And Frank Warren is playing Joe Joyce like a fiddle. And I'm telling you now, Joe, if you don't get on it right now, Joe should be pushing for a Joe versus Usyk mandatory to be made in February. Yeah, Usyk just fought in August. 6 months from August is February. That's perfect. Yeah? Joyce versus Usyk, February 2023. That's what his team, Joe Joyce's team right now, should be pressing the WBO. And citing what happened in 2021. If I was Team Joyce, I'll be on the phone and not threatening legal stuff. I'll be telling them, listen, we had an ordered fight with Usyk in February 2021. You guys cucked us out of it. We didn't get any step aside. We didn't get nothing. And now we're back in that position. I'm 37 years old. I don't have time to wait some more. I don't have time to wait for Fury to finish wanking himself off fighting bums and whatever else. Yeah? I don't have time for Fury to wank himself off and retire and do what God knows what for the next 2 years whilst him and Usyk do whatever they're doing. I don't have time for Usyk to fight Wilder. Get this fight done for February 2021 because Fury's not fighting until December. He ain't going to be ready till June anyway. 6 months from December is May. Yeah? Joyce can fight Usyk in... Joe can fight Usyk in February. And Usyk and Fury can fight in the summer. If Usyk beats Joyce, in that sense. The winner can fight Fury in the summer, which in my opinion, it won't happen till then anyway. I guarantee you, even if Joyce don't fight Usyk in Q1, Fury won't be fighting Usyk until summer Q3 anyway at best. I think Fury versus Usyk happens in Q3 or Q4, the second half of the year. That's when I think it happens. But the way Frank Warren's trying to play this, Frank Warren right now is telling Joe, just sit down like a side man and wait your turn. And if you do wait your turn, Joe, this is what will happen. We know for a fact Fury and Usyk are going to have 2 fights. Neither man is going to allow not to have a rematch clause. Bearing in mind, Usyk has 3 belts. Yeah? So why would Usyk with 3 belts just let Fury beat him and then run off? No, absolutely not. There will be a rematch clause. So, I mean, know what Fury's like. If Fury does win the first fight, as I expect him to, do you really think he's going to go straight back into it? No. Look what happened to Wilder. Yeah? Wilder had to go to court to get his thing. So, let's say, best case, yeah, Fury and Usyk fight in June 2023. That's the first fight. The second fight, you'll be lucky if it gets done within the next year. Fury will retire. Fury will probably go to court. So you'll be lucky to get that. You'll be lucky for the second fight to take place in 2024. June 2024, yeah? The first fight in June 2023. After Fury has finished wanking himself off again, it'll be June 2024. And that's just when the second fight takes place. Then, you'll need 6 months after that. So you're looking at December 2024 before you get your shot. But by then, Dubois, who's got the WBA regular, he will be saying, I'm regular champion, I need my shot. At which point, Dubois will get the shot first at whoever's got the belt. I reckon the WBA regular belt will supersede whatever you've got. Whatever you got. Exactly. Fuck all. That's what will happen. And Dubois will get it, and you'll end up getting a shot in 2026. Sorry, 2025. Yeah? Because Fury and Usyk 2 will be June 2024. Dubois versus the winner will be December 2024. And you'll get a shot June 2025. So about 3 years from now. That's what's going to happen, I guarantee you. Yeah? Because no one has your best interest at heart right now. That's all I see. I see a bunch of weirdos who want to keep you down. And what you also got to bear in mind, Joe, I don't think Fury fancies going in there with you. I don't. Yeah? Fury don't even want to fight AJ. Fury loves to fight bums. That's the bottom line. That's why he's fighting Char. Now, Fury's already admitted he thinks Joe Joyce beats Usyk. He thinks Joe Joyce beats AJ. He thinks Joe Joyce beats Wilder. So, that there lets slip. Shit, you think Joe Joyce is the best. And to be quite, and when at the weekend, when they kept mentioning Tyson, what do you think about Joe? All of a sudden, normally, yeah, for example, when people ask Tyson what he thinks about Usyk, oh, he's a pumped up middleweight, yeah? But all of a sudden, every time they mention Joe Joyce, he got all stiff. He got all serious. Oh, well, I'll do this, I'll do that. I don't know, it didn't feel as, like, it looked like he was taking it personally almost. You know what I mean? That's the feeling I got. Now, I'm not saying, do I think Joe Joyce goes in there and washes Fury? No, it'd be a great fight, but I'm just talking about Fury's track record. Fury's track record is, he liked to fuck about. He don't just do things. AKA the Wilder 3 fight, that took 1.5 years to make. AKA the AJ fight right now has been messed up a few times by Fury. And now Fury's trying to fight more bums. So yeah, honestly, I'm on Joe Joyce's bandwagon big right now, but he needs some serious management who are committed to performing their fiduciary duty for him. Part of me honestly thinks at this point in time, Joe Joyce should look to switch to Matchroom. Why? Well, AJ's washed up. Yeah, AJ's nowhere in the mix right now. Joe Joyce needs someone who will go to hell and earth to bat for him. Now, whatever you say about Eddie Hearn, yeah, Eddie Hearn is desperate to get back into the heavyweight sweepstakes. And Eddie Hearn will pull all the strings he can to get one of his men, which would be Joe Joyce, back in the mix. AJ ain't getting back in the mix for the next year. Yeah? And if Eddie Hearn can get one over on Frank Warren by forcing or by messing up the undisputed fight, which even it's not even messing it up. Joyce versus Usyk in February doesn't mess anything up. But if Eddie Hearn can get involved in that, yeah, he'll be all over it. The problem is, Frank Warren, he has too much right now. He has Dubois, he has Fury, he has Joyce. And the question Joyce and his team need to ask themselves, where do we sit on that pecking order? Well, we know we're not above Fury. And I'm sorry to say this, you ain't above you ain't above Dubois either. You are the third in line. You are the third concern of Frank Warren's. Yeah, when Frank Warren makes decisions, he's actually made it clear where you already are. In my opinion, after your performance at the weekend, Frank Warren should have been out and said, listen, Joe, we're going to get you your mandatory ASAP. Instead, he cucked Joe to his face. He said, yeah, Joe, sit down, rank yourself off for another 2 years doing fuck all, and Fury and Usyk are going to play around for 2 years. That's what he said. That's what he said. Go back and watch it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Joe Joyce is the most deserved contender of all time, in my book. And you tell him to sit down and wait until Fury's finished fighting bums. Until Usyk's finished doing God knows what. Nah, man, that don't work for me. And I think Joe Joyce is too polite. And I'm sorry, but I don't know. I've been tweeting his team. For what that's worth. I wish I had more leverage in this game. Because I don't feel like I'm not going to get hurt, but it's not right. It's not right. We've got the highest rated contender of all time. Certainly of recent history. With 2 KOs over top people. That haven't been done before. No one's come close to stopping Dubois. No one's come close to stopping Joe Parker. This man's done it all. And by the way, look at his face. Not a scratch. Yeah? I mean, we've seen fighters stop people before in wars. This guy, Joe Joyce, yeah, has stopped 2 contenders without a scratch. Dillian White went down when he beat Parker. Yeah? AJ shit himself and danced around all night. Joe Joyce faced clean. And by the way, it's important to note, Joe Joyce has a lot of scar tissue on his face, which means he'll be predisposed to swelling up. He'll be predisposed to cuts and whatnot. So for his face to be clean, it says 1,000 words. This man is the real deal. As real as it gets. And he's 37 years old. And to be fair, that's no one's fault. But for what it's worth, these governing bodies need to kick into action and realise this kid's doing something proper good right now. Why should he have to wait for? Yeah, Usyk should be forced to fight Joe in February this quarter. Sorry, yeah, next February. February 2023. That fight should be ordered for. To start then. So negotiations should start immediately. Yeah? Usyk's had plenty of time. That's 6 months. That's 6 months he will have had between fights. That's how it should be. Shouldn't be more than that. I'm sorry. Bear in mind as well, Usyk's already had a year off. He already had from September to August. So he's had plenty of time off. He don't need more time off. And if he does, drop the belts. Yeah? But my whole thing is, if Joe's team right now don't need to be sucking off Frank Warren. And what that means is, when Frank Warren tells you, sit down and tickle each other's, you know what I mean? Sit down and flick each other's willies together and just wait like good side men. You don't need to do that. Team Joyce need to advise Frank Warren, number 1, we want our shot immediately. And the winner of me and Usyk will fight Fury. Undisputed ain't going nowhere, people. Do you understand that? Undisputed ain't going nowhere. Undisputed won't matter if Joyce and Usyk fight in February. Fury's fighting in December. Oops. So don't tell me it can't wait. It's not like, well, YB, Fury and Usyk are in negotiations now. Fury and Usyk negotiations won't start until December. At best. And that's assuming, from what I've been hearing, Usyk's trying to one-up Fury. Oh, Fury, you're fighting AJ in December. I want to fight Wilder. Yeah? So, let's scrap that idea. Wilder ain't done fuck all. With all due respect, yeah, Wilder ain't done nothing to deserve another shot at the World Championship. He's done nothing apart from lose. That's what he's done. All Wilder's done is lose 3 fights in a row. I ain't trying to hear about what Wilder doing. Wilder has 1 win on his resume against a 50-year-old man. So I'm sorry, that don't cut it for me. Yeah? Let Wilder go and knock Joe Parker out. Let Wilder go and knock Dubois out. And then we'll talk about what Wilder's done. Yeah? Because Wilder ain't never knocked no prime guys out. The first prime guy he ran into, Fury, he got smoked. So I ain't trying to hear about Wilder. I'm trying to hear about Joe Joyce and Usyk. That's it. And it makes me laugh. Because one of the key excuses Usyk's team made back in 2021, why they didn't want to fight Joyce was, Joyce doesn't make no money. I thought, what the are you joking? Usyk, yeah, is one of the most boring guys in the history of the game. Usyk brings no money whatsoever himself. I found it ironic that Usyk in the past has been accused of not bringing no money in, isn't it? Usyk in a blockbuster name. And I found it really ironic that of all the people, you'd think Usyk would be saying, you know what, we don't bring no money in, let's just humble ourselves. But the fact that Usyk tried to pull the money card, is like his name's AJ or like his name's Mayweather, or do you know what I mean? It's like, that's corny, man. You're a nobody, Usyk, all due respect. Trying to pull that card, and it shows you they're shit scared of Joyce. Because when a nobody starts talking about, you're not known, what? When someone who no one knows tries to pull the clout card, that tells you they're shitting themselves. And that's even more why I want to fight. Because I think Joyce is mentally broken, Usyk. Yeah? But Joyce's team need to jump into action now. Not after holiday. Not after wanking each other off. Now. They need to jump into action. Because if you wait about, other things will get moving. Like happened last time. That's why you lost the Usyk fight last time. Just sitting around. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. That's what I'm saying. Joe Joyce, please. Ask your team what the fuck they were doing in 2021. Why wasn't there a purse bid? Why didn't the fight happen? That's what you got. I'm sorry, but these people, I think, get teams sometimes, and they just think that they assume they're doing their best. But Joe, ask yourself, why is everyone else getting a shot? Why is it Usyk gets 2 shots at you know what I mean? Why is Usyk allowed 2 shots at AJ? And you ain't got none. And if you wait too long, and it's not even like, well, YB, at least Joyce got some step aside. You didn't get no step aside for both AJ and Usyk fights. You won't get no step aside for both Fury and Usyk fights. You won't get none. And Frank Warren will keep stringing you along. And that's why I think, I'm not sure contractually he might be tied up. But if he's not, he should seriously consider going to Eddie Hearn and telling Eddie, I'll sign with you if you think, or not guarantee me, but if you tell me you're going to pressure the WBO to get this fight done for February. That has to be the goal. Immediate Usyk fight. Yeah, don't worry about nothing else. Everything else follows from that. Now, if Usyk beats you, then you know your level. It's fine. Then you can start doing the other fights if you can. I think Joyce washes Usyk personally. I just think he does. I think he's too big, too strong. But I don't want to see. I'm not even interested in Undisputed personally. I've been saying for a long time, I want to see Usyk tested at heavyweight. We haven't seen that yet, I don't believe. Usyk for me is still an unknown world championship level heavyweight. He's beaten one finished, broken fighter. I don't count for nothing. Beat Joyce, and I'll be the first one to say, yeah man, you're serious. So far, you ain't proved nothing. So far, you've proven you can be ragdolled by Chisora. Yeah? This ain't the pity pat division. If you want to play pity pat, stay at cruiserweight. As far as heavyweight boxing goes, Chisora beat Usyk. And to be quite frank, Mr. No Cardio, Mr. No Heart, Mr. No Balls, AJ. Give Usyk all he could handle. If AJ had anything more, Usyk was toast in that second fight. Yeah? And Joyce is that man. Joyce has the chin, he has the ambition, he has the cardio, he has the punch output, 80 punches per round. Usyk doesn't output 45 at heavyweight. Oops. There's no way. Joyce has the most deceptive and accurate jab as well. He butchers people with the jab. Look at this guy here. Who has done that to Parker? AJ has a great jab and triple jab. He ain't do this to Parker. And all he did all night was jab. Yeah? Joyce smashed up Dubois, broke his eye with a jab. So, when you do the maths here, in my mind, Usyk is in trouble. And I'd back Joyce bigly. I'd put $2,000 on Joyce to beat a Usyk, to pay 6 back. 100, I'll be on that all day. Promise you. I'll show it as well before the fight. Joyce will beat Usyk on points or late stoppage in my book. 9-12. That's what I see happening. We need to see it. Because otherwise, Fury will beat Usyk. And then in 2025, when Joyce is 50 years old, you know what I mean? One of them ones. And I particularly, I'd rather see this than the undisputed fight. I want to see Joyce versus Usyk. Because that to me is more competitive than Fury and Usyk. If you get what I'm saying. And because there's so many people telling me, for example, there's not many people telling me Usyk gonna school Fury. So that doesn't build the intrigue for me. I think it's a pretty sure bet. And the bookies have it as well. The bookies say Fury will drag Usyk. Fine. There's not much of a question about that, I agree. The problem is for me, the bookies say Joyce will get washed by Usyk. And that's what for me creates the intrigue. Joyce is a 50-pound heavier man. So when you put all that in there, I want to see this fight. I want to see the fight where people think Usyk going to wash Joyce. Based on the evidence we have. It's boxing, why can't we see this one? Undisputed ain't going nowhere. It will be the same place it is now in February. I guarantee you, Undisputed is no closer in February. So please, Team Joyce, do whatever you have to do. Contact Eddie Hearn. Contact WBO. Apply pressure. Use what happened in 2021 to push this mandatory. Yeah? And I also think the whole thing is, it's all well and good saying, oh well, you know, undisputed, but Joyce has been waiting 2 years already. Do you understand? We're in this, Joyce hasn't lost. This isn't a case of Dillian Whyte where he lost to Povetkin and it messed it all up. Joyce was supposed to fight for the WBO in 2021. We're now looking at 2023. And all that's happened is 2 AJ fights versus Usyk. So how can we, what are we doing then? Just having infinite random fights? Because as far as the WBO is concerned, yeah, Fury and Usyk is a random fight. It's got nothing to do with their governing body. Really, governing body mandatories are supposed to be every year. So wait a minute. Pulev fought for the IBF in 2020. That was theirs. Where has the WBO mandatory come from? Who has had the WBO mandatory? And that's what, and that's the thing. I think their whole thing was Usyk had the WBO mandatory. I think that's where that was. I'm pretty sure AJ versus Usyk was the WBO mandatory. And you know what I've just realised there? Joe Joyce is even more fucked than I imagined. Why? Well, let's do the maths here, people, yeah? Usyk has 3 belts. We know Pulev fought for the IBF in 2020, so that mandatory is done. We know Usyk just had the WBO mandatory, so you've got Pulev with the IBF, Usyk with the WBO. Who has had a WBA mandatory? No one. Which means, who is next? Who's top of the WBA, people? Who is it? Yeah, Pulev has ticked off the IBF mandatory. Usyk has ticked off the WBA mandatory. The WBA mandatory hasn't been served for years. Who is at the top of the WBA? Dubois. Dubois, there's a good argument Dubois has the next dibs on those 3 belts. That's the facts. There hasn't been no one else. That's it. Dubois next. Based on the precedent. There's no way, for example, the WBA hasn't had a mandatory challenger for AJ. AJ went from Pulev to 2 Usyk fights. Before Pulev, who was it? Before Pulev. Well, it don't matter who it was. Even if it was a WBA guy, that means we're back to the WBA. Yeah? I think it was Povetkin before that. 2020 was... 2020 was... Parker was 28. I'm not sure who it was. Scrap it. No, it was Ruiz, wasn't it? No, Ruiz was a random one. So yeah, WBA's been God knows when. WBA is next. We've had the IBF. We've had the WBO. It's back now to the WBA. And that's Dubois. There's no way the WBO are going to get another shot before the WBA have got theirs. Dubois is next in line for those 3 belts. Because how it works is they all take turns. Yep, you have a turn, I have a turn, you have a turn. IBF and WBO, they've had their turns. Usyk and Pulev. WBA is the only one who hasn't been served, and that is Dubois. And that's sickening, because really, Joyce should have been the one to fight for WBA. Why? Well, he's the alpha. He knocked your bum-ass Dubois out. Frank Warren should have passed Joyce. Joyce has been inactive for a year. So, it's not like you can say, well, YB, Joyce was busy, Joyce had a full calendar and he's been living his best life somewhere else. No. Joyce has been doing F all, sitting on the bench, wasting valuable years, people. How can Joe Joyce be on the bench for a year? How can that be possible? When there's been fights like Bryan versus someone. How's that? Why didn't Frank Warren put Joe Joyce forward? You know what, Joe? Got an opportunity here. I know you're top in the WBO right now, but you know what? I can't reasonably pass Dubois the opportunity. I think to increase your chances of being mandated ASAP, let's get you in this WBA regular fight. Then you'll be the top of the WBO and you'll be top of WBA. Yeah? That way our chances are really high of forcing the next mandatory. Why is he not having that conversation with you? Instead, you're on the bench whilst your team are wanking each other off. And that's why I can't deal with these teams, man. I can't deal with it. They piss me off. You pay these guys so much money and all they do... What the fuck do they... What do they do all day? Adam Morley, what are you doing all day? Sam Jones, what are you doing all day? Because you ain't managing Joe at all. Because the way things are setting up, Joe is going to be on the sidelines for the next 3 years. And has already been on the sidelines for the last 3 years. In my opinion, that win over Dubois back in 2020, that should have qualified him. That was a mandatory shot fight. How wasn't it? For Joe Joyce to stop Dubois, that is a mandatory shot fight. But end of the day, people, listen, man. Joe, you're not a thick guy. Or I hope you're not. If you're not thick here, what are you telling your team? Because what Frank Warren had to say was shocking. And most importantly, Frank Warren's actions are equally shocking. He is setting Dubois to get a shot first. And the way he'll sell it to you is, he'll say to you, oh, what? Oh, Joe, I know I told you it'd be... Oh, I just didn't know. I can't believe what they've done. That's how he'll say it. He'll say he can't believe that, oh, Joe, I don't know what's going on here. WBA have ordered Dubois versus Usyk. That's how he'll spin it. He'll make out he didn't know, didn't see it coming. Can't believe it. Oh, I've been side-blinded. And that's why it's important for your team to be thinking ahead. You can't live in the moment and just take Frank's word for it. That's the whole point that's the whole reason in the US they have the Muhammad Ali rule. The Muhammad Ali rule doesn't allow promoters to be the same as managers for obvious reasons. Your management team should be for you. They shouldn't be trying to suck Frank Warren off. Yeah? And if your team are trying to suck Frank Warren off, you need to sack the lot of them and bring the YB in. Because you best believe you'll be getting fiduciary duty 100%. I ain't trying to suck no other man off. I'm trying to get Joe what his rights deserve. And I hate to say it, but I just don't think your team are doing that. I don't think they do. Because if Joe, I'm not even saying, if Joe was my client, yeah, back in 2021, you wouldn't have heard the end of it. About how Usyk shit himself. And guess what? There ain't one video of Mr. Big Mouth Sam Jones saying anything. Where's he at? Where's Mr. Big Mouth at? How has Mr. Big Mouth not been out here publicly saying, Usyk, you shit your pants? Talking about how Joe ain't a big draw. What's a big draw got to do with your WBO obligations? Explain that to me. About big draw. Yeah? You get a big jab in your face. How about that? Mr. Twinkle Toes Cinderella looking ass. Listen, Mr. Cinderella. Yeah? You shit your pants, bottom line. And no one from Team Joyce said a peep. The same way they didn't say a peep when Dubois got the WBA. The same way they didn't say a peep when Joe, at 36 years old, was on the sideline for a year. Who doing that? How are they allowing Joe to be on the sideline for a year? The man's already said he's not like a Fury. Joe Joyce is not like a Fury, yeah, who likes sitting around and wanking off. Joe likes to be active. So how's that possible? Who's allowing that? I believe it's all engineered by Frank Warren. Bottom line. Because the only person to benefit here is Frank Warren. It's definitely not Joe Joyce. And the sad thing is, he's the most deserving. If there was one guy who people should be backing, it should be Joe. Not based on Twitter. Not based on Instagram. Not based on, oh well, YB, he's 20 years old, so I've got more life. No, based on meritocratically what he's done in the ring. Everyone should be pulling for Joe. The governing bodies should be pulling for Joe. The WBA right now should be saying, Dubois, you're a stinker. Yeah? Joe's getting the next shot. Everyone should agree on that right now. And what gets me is the fact that after the fight, I'm not blaming Joe here, but after the fight, Joe's kind of like, oh, Fury, and I want Fury, I want Wilder. Listen, Joe, no one's going to fight you unless they have to. So you can forget about Wilder, you can forget about Fury. A man in your position doesn't get what he wants, doesn't get what he asks for, he gets what he's legally entitled to. And that means mandatory shots. That's all you get. I'd love to see Joyce versus Wilder, but you ain't that kind of draw. Wilder's going to fight AJ, Wilder's going to fight Dillian White long before he fights you. They're easier fights and they're bigger paydays. That's how it's going to work. I'm telling you now. Wilder's here to cash out. He's not here to have hard fights. Wilder didn't have hard fights in the prime of his career. Yeah? He ain't just going to randomly fight Joe Joyce and get his Barnett jabbed in. That's what he's not going to do. So again, whilst I appreciate Joe's kind of easygoing, that's why you need someone like the YB. Yeah? Because it's just not, I'm telling you now, it just ain't going to go down how it's been going down. But still, Joe, you're going to have to take control of your own career. You can't sit back anymore and let these clowns around you just paddle along. Otherwise, the next thing, I'm telling you now, if nothing gets done, which probably won't, a year from now, Joe won't have fought no one, I guarantee you. Or it'll be a bum again, like Hammer. Guarantee it. As it stands here, Joe Joyce will not have fought anyone apart from a random filler fight like Hammer in the next year. That's what I think happens next. A year from now, September 26th, 2023, Joe Joyce won't have fought no one of relevance. That's what will happen if his team don't get out here and start really pushing for it. You've got options. You tell Frank the deal. We ain't waiting. If you're representing us, yeah, if you don't want to find us in court, Frank, you need to start pushing for me versus Usyk in February. Yeah? I don't care what you've got, because as far as Joe Joyce is concerned, he shouldn't care about Tyson Fury and Undisputed. Fuck Tyson Fury. Fuck Undisputed. That's what his team should be saying. And if Frank Warren can't get that, you need to take Frank Warren to court and say, listen, Frank, I understand you've got other fighters, yeah, but if your management of other fighters shouldn't put me to a disadvantage. And if it is, you need to let me go. That's how you handle that situation. And you take him to court. Yeah? If he refuses to let you go, you take him to court and say, listen, this guy's telling me I must ruin my career at 37 years old to suck Tyson Fury off whilst he fucks about fighting Manuel Jar and fucks about fighting this guy and fucks about retiring. And I can't see how a judge is going to say, yeah, Joe, you must sit down and cuck yourself and just wait until Frank Warren's finished fighting, you know what I mean, finished playing with Tyson Fury and playing with Dubois, and then you can rock up at 50, 60 years old. I can't see that. At which point, that will enable you to go and join Eddie Hearn, which I'm confident Eddie Hearn will move heaven and earth to get you in there with Usyk. He wants his revenge on Usyk. He will get you in there ASAP. No one right now in this game will be more motivated to see him get the belts back. Eddie looks like a clown at heavyweight now. He has nothing left. If Joe was to go to Eddie, that's where I'd feel it he'd be most comfortable. And to be quite honest, listen, if AJ still had all the belts, I wouldn't be saying this, if you get what I'm saying. Because there's no way Eddie's going to be desperate to get Joe Joyce. So I'm not biased, yeah? If I thought Frank Warren, was the best place to get Joe there, I'll be telling you that. That's just not the case. Right now, Eddie is desperate to get the belts back and to get back on top. And if he thinks, even if he doesn't believe Joe Joyce beats Usyk, end of the day, just a shot. And Joe Joyce is the next thing to get a shot. Eddie Hearn will move heaven and earth. And that's the thing. And listen, once you've got out of the Frank Warren situation, you go to Eddie and say, Eddie, are you going to move heaven and earth to get me this WBO shot? This is what I want. I want me versus Usyk in February. Can you get behind that? Do you think it's possible? Can you back that play? Or are you telling me my play is to sit around and wank off for a year? Because that's what Frank Warren's, and that's how the marketplace is supposed to work. The marketplace is you go to who going to deliver you the best value. Frank Warren's telling you need to sit down at 37 years old and wank off for another year. That's what Frank Warren's telling you. You go to Eddie, what can you offer me? Can you beat that? Can you offer me something better than sitting around and wasting another year of my life off the back of the best performance of my life? And I'm confident Eddie will be all over it, and rightfully so. No man will be more likely to get that job done, in my opinion, right now. He would love the opportunity to work with Joe and to beat Usyk. So that's my position. Yeah, Frank Warren, he will smile at you. Yeah, he'll crack jokes with you. Oh, I don't think Usyk wants that fight. Listen, Frank. I don't care who you think wants what. Get him to fight. You know what I'm saying? What's the point? It's almost like Frank was saying that as an out. Oh, I don't think Usyk will want that fight. Oh, you know what I mean? What's that? What does that mean, Frank? Are you telling me that means that? Or are you saying that's going to be your next excuse? Oh, sorry, Joe. Can't get you the Usyk fight soon because he don't want it. Oh, you do. Oh, we knew we'd be ducking. I think Frank Warren's narrative will be, sorry, Joe, can't get you the Usyk fight because, he don't want it, he's scared. And Joe and his dopey team, oh, yeah, Usyk's scared then. That doesn't do you fuck all. Yeah? At which point, someone like the YB will say, listen, Frank, I don't care who's scared of what. What is the situation with a mandatory? Usyk can be what he wants. I want my shot now, or he can be stripped. That's what your team need to be on. Your team don't need to be on sitting there, cuckolded, talking about, well, Fury didn't run your career. Fury ain't nothing to do. You don't give a fuck about him. Fuck him. Yeah, fuck Fury. Told you before. As far as Joe Joyce's team are concerned, fuck Undisputed. I mean, I'm sure I heard Sam Jones saying, oh, we need to get Undisputed next. What the fuck are you talking about? Who gives a fuck about Undisputed? We need to see Joyce versus Usyk. That's what we need. Oh, yeah, well, we need to do this first. We need to do that first. Oh, yeah, well, we need to do Fury. Oh, imagine that. Imagine that. You come off your best win, or you come off a raging win, yeah? One of the best wins in recent history of the game. And your promoter's telling you, we need to wait and see what Fury finish is doing. And I wouldn't mind, honestly, yeah, if Fury was a man who was straight up and down, fighting every 6 months, that'd make more sense to me. But knowing the clownery Fury's involved with, if I'm 37 years old, yeah, and my manager, promoter, tells me, yeah, we need to wait and see how Fury, you know what I mean? We need to wait and see what Fury is going to do. Nah, man, that don't work for me. Yeah, you need to see what Fury is doing. I don't. So let me out of this contract. I'm going to go and work for a promoter who puts me first. Because as far as I'm concerned, yeah, legally speaking, I guarantee you in Joe Joyce's contract, there's nothing in there that says, Joe Joyce, you agree that you'll be third best. Joe Joyce, you agree that every decision I, Frank Warren, make you'll be third in line. Now, mate, listen, if I'm wrong, if Joe Joyce has signed a contract which stipulates that he will be third in line, then fair enough. Joyce, you don't have a leg to stand on. But I guarantee you, Frank Warren's contract says, yep, I'll do the best. You know what I mean? I'll put you first and everything else. Listen, telling me I've got to wait for Fury, telling me I've got to wait for Dubois, ain't putting me first. Let me out the contract and let Eddie Hearn go get this work done. Because Undisputed ain't going nowhere. It will not hurt Undisputed for it to take place after February. I told you already, in my opinion, it won't happen in February anyway. So please, Team Joyce, please, Joe, I've laid it all out for you. This is what you need to do. Otherwise, you will be here a year from now, and you will have fought nothing but bums. And you'll be older, and you'll be more washed. And there's no reason for it whatsoever. And Usyk by then will be beaten already. Joe Joyce right now needs to focus in. Not talk about Wilder, not talk about Fury. They're never going to fight you, Joe, let's be real now. Unless you've got a belt, they're never going to fight you. Please start pushing for Usyk. Please start pushing for WBO now. Not after, not later, not Fury, now. And if they can't do it now, you need a damn good reason why. And if I was you, I'd be looking at legal options. Adam Morley is apparently a lawyer. What the fuck? He a lawyer, but you ain't litigating. The fuck? What good is a lawyer who don't litigate? Yeah? Anyway, I love Joe's whole thing, yeah, but I just worry that I just don't think he's being managed properly at all. I just don't. And I wish it wasn't the case. I wish I could come on here and tell you, oh man, he managed amazing and things are working out. But when you look back, Joyce fought Dubois 2 years ago. That was a defining fight. I'm sure, even then, I'm pretty sure, yeah, Dubois versus Joyce was some sort of final eliminator. That was 2 years ago. We're now 2 years later. And what has Joyce done? You can't even say, well, YB. Joyce beat Dubois in a final eliminator, and next month, in October 2022, is about to fight for the belts. No. 2 years after your eliminator, you're being told it's going to be another 2 years. How's that right? These are all things that need to be built into a legal claim against Frank, against WBO. And even if the case don't go nowhere, it's about pressure. The WBO won't want... No one wants legal cases. If they can get a legal case quashed, they'll do it. And what you're asking for isn't unreasonable. You want your shot after being cucked in 2021, and now you're being cucked again, having to wait for an imaginary fight that might not even happen with Fury and Usyk. So please, Joe, reach out to someone. I don't know. You know what I mean? Reach out, man. Jesus Christ. Do something. I'm telling you now, please don't go away on holiday and let all that shit play out. You need to be on this, man. Yeah? You got a fire now. Listen, your missus is the fire, man. But listen, your fire-ass missus ain't going nowhere. Yeah? 3 years from now, when you're retired, you can enjoy all the fire cooch you want. But right now, holiday can wait, in my opinion. You need to get on this now. Not a month from now, because people don't care a month from now. You're hot now. You have to leverage that. You have to leverage that to build like the narrative. A month from now, yeah, if you start kicking up a fuss, no one ain't going to care nothing. If you kick up a fuss, in my opinion, if I was managing Joe, you'd have been on the mic saying, listen, Usyk, you shit your pants in 2021. You little midget. Stop running, stop crying about, oh, I'm not a big draw, and come let me jab your tiny little midget bonce off. That's what he should have said. Not, oh, Wilder and Fury. No, do you want to hear that? I want you, you scary midget who ducked me in 2021. And I'd have brought a photocopy of the news article. Look, everyone, Usyk shit his pants in 2021. Stop running. Yeah? That's what he should have been on. In my opinion, that's what he should be on now. But again, your management team, they're sloppy. Yeah? They're messy. What are they really... Joe, what value is your team really delivering? 2 years after your eliminator, you're still wanking off. That's what your team are doing. Yeah, you're genuinely none the closer to a belt. You ain't. Frank Warren will lie to you. I'm telling you now, you're nowhere closer. Yeah, nowhere closer. You're still behind Dubois' WBA mandatory. You're still behind 2 unification fight rematch clauses. Oops. That's your position. I'd say at best you're 18 months out from a shot. Now, listen, I don't know, maybe Joe's happy with that. If you're happy with waiting 18 to 2 years, yeah, just say that. Please, Joe, please, yeah, because I'm stressed out. I really, really want this for you. But if you're happy to wank off here for another 18 months, please come out and let me rest easy. Come out and say, not even to me, just come out and say, listen, people, had a great win, and I'm happy to wank off for the next 18 months, 2 years. So please don't no one get hyped up about me fighting for a belt. I'm happy for Frank Warren and everyone else to cuck me. Yeah, I'm happy to be... my name's Joe Joyce, and I'm happy to be cucked by Tyson Fury and Usyk and Dubois and anyone else who wants to go. Please come out and say that. Because I feel super passionate about this. I really do. I can't stand the injustice. Yeah? When people do things to earn it, they should be treated that way. Usyk done fuck all and got a shot. And the crazy thing is, most of these guys do fuck all and get shots. AJ, fuck all, got a shot. Fury, fuck all, got a shot. Usyk, fuck all, got a shot. Joyce does the most, smokes Parker, smokes Dubois, and he out here, still 2 years out. After already waiting 2 years. How's that possible? How can you have an eliminator in 2021 and still be in the same place 2 years later? Please someone do something anyway. Jesus Christ. Smash the like button, subscribe, and your boy will be back 100%.